Before we look at the individual instruments of the bowed string family, there are a few notes on the bow itself, as well as some context regarding the history and technical evolution of the string section that will be valuable for the developing orchestrator to know. The bowed string section is the oldest family in the orchestra and was the first to reach technical perfection regarding the construction of its instruments by the beginning of the 18th century. Ancestors of the modern bowed string family have been dated back to the Middle Ages. The Byzantine lira, the Middle Eastern ribab, and the Mongolian jiquin, for example, were all being constructed and played in and around the 10th century. In Europe, during the Renaissance, there was a surge of new music being composed that called for members of the burgeoning bowed string family, often in addition to other staple instruments of the time, such as the harpsichord, the lute, and the voice. This demand and surge galvanized the technical evolution of the string family and left us with what has been considered the staple string section for hundreds of years now: the violin, the viola, the cello, and the contrabass. The string section holds appeal to composers for a number of reasons. Here are a few. Its large dynamic scope. Unlike other instruments, the members of the string section are capable of playing at many dynamic levels, from a soft triple pianissimo to a crushing fortissimo. Its ability to produce long, sustained tones. Unlike wind instruments that require time for the players to breathe, or plectrum, plucked instruments, whose pitches begin to decay immediately after being produced, bowed string instruments are capable of holding tones for extended periods of time simply by drawing the bow back and forth across the string. Its wide frequency range. The string section has a massive range of pitches available at its disposal, almost 6 octaves from the highest end of the violins to the low end of the contrabasses. Finally, given the similarity in construction, the string family possesses a seamless unity of timbre across the section, while also giving the composer ample possibilities for timbre variation via pizzicato arco, sul tasto, ponticello, mutes, trills, tremolo, dynamic variation, etc. There is truly an endless amount of knowledge and nuance for the composer to discover regarding the bow. We here are just going to brush, or rather bow, the surface to get you started. When a string player uses the bow, this is referred to as arco. Arco is the default. Take note that when the player plays arco, the bow alternates directions. This is known as a down bow, when the bow is drawn across the strings from the hand towards the tip, and an up bow, when the bow is drawn from the tip towards the hand. When a string player does not use the bow, but plucks the strings with his or her fingers, this is called pizzicato. If a composer wishes the player to switch to pizzicato, they must write it in the music, and subsequently, when the composer wishes the player to return to the bow, he or she must write in the word arco, where the switchback is to occur. Vibrato is a pulsing fluctuation in pitch. On the string instruments, it is accomplished by the finger wagging subtly or drastically, depending on the extent of vibrato desired, back and forth on the depressed string. Vibrato is used for expression, tuning, and can also be utilized as a textural effect. Trills and tremolo are two commonly used techniques among string players. For string instruments, a trill involves rapidly depressing and releasing the note just above the note written. i.e., if a held E appears in the score with the TR symbol, the player would rapidly press and remove the finger on the F above it. The word tremolo has multiple meanings. We are going to introduce the two most commonly used definitions. A bowed tremolo involves rapidly drawing the bow back and forth across a string. Alternatively, a fingered tremolo involves the alternation between two notes in the fingerboard hand. For most players, this means the left hand. Similar to a trill, only at an interval larger than a second. Let's leave it at that for now and discuss the individual instruments.